Hello, good afternoon. It's me, Neil, your host for another Contractor's Guide 2. And today we are talking about crafting an effective CV and portfolio. And I have a guest with me today, the lovely Cornelia. Let me introduce you on the screen here. Hello. We're now both on the
Hello,
screen.
hello everyone.
um, it's great to have you here. I know you've got some great tips for the guys here listening. So we'll crack on with it, shall we? So why do you need a CV in the first place? And really, it's that first personal introduction that somebody's going to have about understanding who you are, what you do, what's really great about you, and what services you can offer to them, and why they should get rid of all of those other CVs off their desk and pick yours and take you through and get you that interview. So it's there to highlight your qualifications and your experiences to best fit for the job, because hopefully you're applying for roles and jobs that you like doing and you've got lots of experiences that can back up what you do and why you're good at doing it. It's also important to have contact information on there. After all, it's no good putting a CV out there if they can't contact you with the dream job that you've been looking for. But moreover, it should be a professional summary. It's the first view that someone's going to get of you. Now, I don't mean put a photo on there. That's probably not a good idea, although, some people do have photos on CVs. I'm not sure if it helps or not. But it should be a professional summary. It should be, your name, obviously, and what you've done professionally in your career that most matches the role that you're applying for. So, education can be important. It depends on how long ago it was. When you're an old fart like me, the education I've got is way dwarfed by the experience I have. But when you're starting out, the education is perhaps the most important thing to have on there. So as long as it's relevant to the roles that you're applying for. If you've got an art degree, that shows that you have creative thinking. If you've got an IT degree, it shows that you might have an inkling about what programming is about. And so it's important to be on there. But if you've got work experience that's relevant, and I keep saying if it's relevant, because if it's irrelevant, I used to work in a cider shop. True story. Sold cheese in Cheddar Gorge. How cheesy could you get? But that's not really relevant to if I'm talking to somebody about a DevOps role right now, so you won't find that on my CV. What you will find is relevant work experience. Stuff like, uh, I got a blank. That's not useful, is it? About the recent roles that I've done around the DevOps area. The reason why I pulled a blank is because also on a CV should be the key projects. What project have you been involved in recently that you're really proud of, that really made a difference? And if you could have your time again, would you want to do that job again? Um, and after all, we want to make a difference, or at least I do. And those projects I'm looking for are going to help, make a change. And if I can give you an example of a project that I've done that I'm proud of and I want to do again, then that's the highlight for me that's going to be on there. Hire me because I've done this, I love doing it, and I want to do it for you as well. In addition to that, you can also have your achievements. If you've got any notable awards, I might have one over here on my shelf there, that also backs up the fact that you're good at what you do. And that's always helpful to have advocates, or if you're on LinkedIn, you can also have recommendations. These always aid and provide a warm, fuzzy feeling, and also back up that you're a good guy, and people should spend more time speaking to you and understanding how you can work together. And the structure overall should be clear and concise. I will upload a copy of my CV somewhere, probably be in the comments or something later on. just so you've got a idea. I don't expect you to copy it word for word because you're not me, but it'll give you the idea of the structure rather than these points here. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Cornelia.
Thanks, Neil. So yes, Neil invited me today to also share some tips and tricks of how to have an impactful profile. For those who will be most of you guys who don't know me, Cornelia, I work at Equal Experts, the same great consultancy that Neil is also in. And I work in the people team where I am a people manager and engagement manager. So kind of what I wanted to share today is those insights, and it's not law. Anything you want to take, you take if it's suitable. If not, and it's not major changes, it's really elevation and how to make it more impactful and more memorable. So yeah, Neil, if we could go, this particular slide, and let's start. So the first tip I wanted to share is the CV length. At EE, Equal Experts, we've recently reviewed about 200 CVs, and we do receive a very lengthy one. So, 6, 7, 10 plus pages sometimes. The kind of rule these days is 2-3 pages max. And you can still have your long version. You can use it as kind of a backup when people need more information. But the 2-pager is great because you really focus on those key skills, key experiences, and you also show respect to the hiring managers, recruiters of their time, and you give nice and concise, relevant information. Another thing that we've noticed is LinkedIn. So loads of people submit CVs, but they do not include their LinkedIn profile links. So it's a very nice, very useful little thing because hiring managers, recruiters, we all kind of cross-reference, we double check. So you including that, again, it just helps. You're being helpful, you're giving that additional information. If you do use GitHub and there's any kind of referenceable public projects that you don't mind sharing, also good to have, because again, hiring managers, recruiters, we will have a little look, especially hiring managers. And then in regards to competencies, again, we're all very good at giving all that kind of high level information on all the platforms, languages that you use. But what we forget is more generic competencies. So nowadays, when you send your application directly to a company, there is a high chance that the first person who will see it will be a not very experienced resourcer. So they will be working with a tick list and they will be kind of scanning your CV for those keywords from that tick list. So it's really highly advisable for you to have things like change management, budgeting, and continuous improvement there, so that you're not being discounted for not having something fairly generic. And again, experienced recruiter, hiring manager would just know, but that more junior person won't. So you don't want to miss out on opportunities for not having those more basic competencies. So that's enough on this slide. If we can move to the next, Neil. Now, another great tip is active language. So usually when we write CVs, we're kind of used to writing, when you see a job spec, you kind of try to mirror it and show that you also done it, been there, done that. Try to write it in a more active way. So if you kind of really highlight those verbs like achieved, led, managed, again, when you're reading that type of CV, it really speaks. I'm looking at the consultant's profile rather than somebody who uses more passive language. So yeah, that active language, again, really, really elevates your profile. A bit of a tip, most of us use ChatGPT these days. So you can just pop a couple of phrases, couple of sentences from your profile and ask it to just use a bit more active language. And honestly, it will give you options and you can utilize it. And obviously will coach you for your interviews as well. What else do we have here? Metrics. So another very important one, the kind of nowadays world, we're all about data, database strategies, database decisions. So obviously when recruiters, hiring managers looks at CV, we also look for that data-driven individual. So try to mention it. Obviously, it makes your examples more impactful. It tells a more vivid story. So yeah, if you do remember, pop it in there, use it. Team sizes, budgets, any other metrics you can use that's not under NDA. It will be very, very useful. And last but not least is an About Me section. So for many years, especially in the contracting world, it was a bit of a taboo. People would be like, oh, I'm a contractor. Nobody really needs to know what I do outside of work. Where in reality, you know, when you join contracts, even if it's for a 3-month period of time, there is a chance that you will be there for much longer. So hiring managers do pay attention, and they do want to know, will you fit in the team? Maybe there's some interest that, you know, match theirs, or again, somebody else that you know, is very key person in that environment. So yeah, include an About Me section, but let's not be vague. So give details. So if you're a traveler, what's the coolest place you visited? If you're a keen reader, maybe there's a book that really changed your life. If you're a baker or a cook, what's the weirdest or coolest thing you can make? And that way, again, you're telling them what you do in work, who you are as a consultant, but the About Me section gives that extra flavor of who you are as a person. And then it's kind of that whole rounded view of who you are and what they will be considering and then bringing into their team. So that's my few tips. If we could move to the next slide, Neil. And then, yeah, for those who don't know, we have a bit of information about Equal Experts. We're all about being a great community. We help each other. And when you join, I think one of the key things that it is a long-term relationship. And on that note, I'll give the kind of mic back to Neil. And thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. That's some great tips there. And if you're ready for contracting, then there's a quiz that you can go through. It'll tell you what you know, what you don't know, what those things are missing, because you know none of us know, or rather us, we don't know what we don't know. This will help clear up that for you. The first page just looks at that. And as always, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments below and we'll answer them as soon as we can. Thanks for joining us today. Hope it's been useful, and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you.